Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today. Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
All right, welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass podcast with Kevin and Chuck. Today we're going to talk about character. You know, I've been thinking a lot about, raising kids. I have boys. I wonder what's right. You want your kids to be a man, You want them to grow up and be tough. You want them to be independent. You want them to take charge of their lives. You want them to basically be able to take care of themselves. And you want them to be able to, bring something to the world. So often now, I feel like people just exist. And, it's back to, I guess, that Atlas Shrugged thing of, if you're not making choices and affecting anything, then why are you even alive, If you're sitting staring at your Facebook laughing all day, or if you're going through life playing video games, I don't know, what is that, World of Warcraft or something, and you're spending half the day chopping trees in the woods, to get more coins or whatever it is that people do, what kind of life are you living? That's what I worry about. And I understand some people are content and happy with that, but I feel like there should be more out of life. And I think it's not so much I worry about them leaving a mark in the world. I don't care that they're in a history book or that the world sees them, in some way. I just want them to feel like they accomplished something and to have value in their life. And I think that's what matters, is value. And I'm always thinking, what really makes a person valuable? What gives them the character and the drive, I always thought, I'm hardworking. I work hard. I'm always doing stuff and being productive and helping people. And I don't, hesitate to jump up and do the right thing. And I thought, all through the Bible, we always hear, be the light kind of in the dark world. People will see you and then act like you. You always hear these stories, kids watch their parents and they act like them. But I don't know. I don't see them running out and being the hard charger. What do you think?
Well, I mean, raising a boy to be a man, it takes a man to do that.
Oh, what are you saying here? Wait a minute. No.
Well, there's a lot involved with developing character in yourself.
Okay.
It takes a lot of fortitude, a lot of hard work, self-discipline, and it's not so easy to instill that in another person.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I thought it was, but yeah, no, the more I look at it and just, raising boys and kids, and it's not an easy feat. And, they're good, kind people. Mm-hmm. But I just want to create that drive, and I don't know how to do it, Well,
what's Ronda Rousey? You know Ronda Rousey.
I do know Ronda Rousey,
yeah. She was always rallying about, don't be a DMB. Nobody likes a do-nothing bitch.
There you go.
It doesn't matter what you do.
But do something.
Do something.
And that's, I think that matters. I think that's it. And that's, the more I was thinking about it, I thought, what? I kind of put my finger on it, and, it's adversity and the hard times, that make you who you are.
Right.
I always, me and a friend of mine, we always talk, and we talk about how our parents were barely involved in our lives. But, I mean, just we'd leave the house in the morning and come back, and it wasn't like you're out playing ball with dad or building decks with dad. That never happened. And, I think that I spend more time with my kids than my parents did. Maybe not now as they're getting older, but definitely growing up. And I'm like, how have I not, had the big effect? And I think it's the challenges you come across, the obstacles that you run in life. I was just talking to somebody, and when your kids go away on like a trip by themselves, they come back and they're like so much more independent. I think it's the challenges,
Right.
That's
adversity. I know.
It doesn't have to be bad times. Like, it doesn't have to be,
right.
My leg got chopped off.
Right.
It doesn't have to be that, but it has to be like, that's why the Boy Scouts build character. And it's not maybe the moral code of the Boy Scouts, although most of the great people I know were Boy Scouts, but it's not the moral code, I think, as much as I think it is, these kids got out and were challenged with all kinds of things. These kids were building fires. These kids are building shelters in the woods and survival. They're learning all the different skills. And I think it gives you the confidence. And I think confidence is kind of the key to, because once you're not afraid and once you feel like you can do anything, then you just kind of keep pushing forward, I think. I don't know. What are your thoughts? I know I kind of cut you off there mid-step.
Well, the most of the interesting people that you interact with in life, you find out that they had difficult childhoods. A lot of the people that are, funny or hardworking, it's easy to be hardworking when you grow up with no heat in the house because your dad was spending money on Coke and couldn't afford to pay the bills. That sort of stuff. So maybe being a bad parent is the best thing you can do for your kids.
I kind of wonder that. Sometimes I'm like, maybe if things were a little harder, they were a little poorer, or
Yeah.
Maybe if I didn't provide so much for them, maybe things would turn out differently.
It's really easy to not die.
Yes.
It's really easy to coast through life and get used to that.
And that's, I guess, what I'm afraid of, and I want to toughen them up and make the world full of men, I think also, there's got to be a little more to it, because you have some people who are like, oh, I had the crappy dad who beat me all the time.
Yeah, that's
and then
not,
they're pathetic.
Yeah,
and they go through life and they're like, oh, I'm a victim. And, and somehow, I know a grown-up, somebody who is, I think, 67 years old now. Mom's been dead for 20 years, and all I hear her saying is, oh, I had such a bad childhood, and that's why I'm messed up, and whatever. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
50 years to get that straight out.
How have you not? And so, obviously, just having a crappy time doesn't make us hard.
Right.
But I think it's maybe challenges and maybe overcoming like those successes, that confidence, I think is what shape you into a better person.
Yeah, well, I think one thing that's important about raising a kid is if your kid brings back a report card with all A's, don't say, wow, you're really smart. Say, you worked really hard for that.
Yeah.
I'm proud of how hard you worked at getting these good grades.
Nice.
Don't say, wow, you're really good at baseball. Say, it's really impressive how much effort you put into that practicing.
To get there.
To get there.
Nice. I like that. And that's, these are the things I think that matters. I know there was a story about Abraham Lincoln. And, it's back to the kind of character. He would walk along. I think this might be from like a Napoleon Hill book. or maybe Dale Carnegie, one of these guys. I think they definitely shaped my outlook a lot on life. They had a lot of insight, and I'll get to them in a minute. But Abraham Lincoln would write letters about people. And if somebody pissed him off and wronged him, he'd be like, Jim, whatever, he's such an ass, and he did this, and that his wife's cheating on him, and it's ridiculous. And he would write all this stuff that, was probably true, but embarrassing, and the flaws that he saw about people. And he would go and he would just drop the letter on the side of the road and hope that somebody would find it to shame the guy. Mm-hmm. And I mean, this is like a big character flaw. And this is Abraham Lincoln, who's one of the men that kind of is like a symbol of character, at least for a lot of people. And I think he is. I think he's a great guy, became a great guy. And he said later on, I think he ended up getting challenged to a duel. Mm-hmm. And somebody kind of called his bluff on his shenanigans, mm-hmm. and that getting, forged through that experience, he kind of was like, oh, maybe this isn't something I should be doing. Mm-hmm. I think he actually ended up getting shot in the hip or something.
With that was since he's so tall and had a long reach. Since he was challenged, he could pick the weapons.
That's what it was.
And he picked long swords and drew a line in the sand where each opponent had to stay on their own side, so that nobody could get close to him to do anything, and they ended up calling it a draw.
All right. So, but either way, and then I remember he said something about.
But that sort of real life. Challenge can make you correct your behavior.
And that's it. And then I read that he would write letters to his adversaries, maybe. Mm-hmm. And when he would write letters to the generals mm-hmm. during the Civil War. And I believe it was Grant? One of them that turned back and didn't finish it. Was it Grant?
Yeah, it might have been Grant. It was after Gettysburg, right?
Yeah, he had pushed the Confederates to the river, mm-hmm. and he was like, yeah, finish them, go through with it. And he's like, no, I didn't do it because my men were tired and whatever. Mm-hmm. And it ended up causing the war to go on for another 2 months, mm-hmm. whereas he could have finished it right there. He had, things set up. And the point is, he would write this letter, oh, you're ridiculous, how dare you, you screwed me, you embarrassed me, you make me look bad, and then he would put it in a drawer and just never send it. Mm-hmm. And just kind of express his feelings to himself and realize, no good is going to come out of that.
Right.
And that's the thing, because he said, he's still one of the best generals I have, mm-hmm. and if I, reprimand him and whatever, then I have nothing.
Yeah, I'm thinking, though, that
I made up that story?
No, it's a true story. It's not Grant, though, and I can't tell you what general it is.
All right, though. So once again, I come up short on the facts, and it's been a long time since mm-hmm. I read all these books.
The Civil War history's a little.
I'm trying to think of the things that kind of help shape me into what I am. But back to Dale Carnegie has a book.
Now, see, Dale Carnegie.
He's more
did
like
he
a
write
self-help
how to win friends and influence people?
He did write How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I got to say, that book helped define a lot of my views, my character, kind of who I am. There's a couple of key points, I think, throughout life that I can see that changed my outlook. Mm-hmm. And that's what I keep trying to piece together, and shaping it with, my own kids. I'm like, what are the things? And they're all moments that I can't recreate for them, I used to work with one of my brothers. And I remember I was 17, 18, or 18 and 19, somewhere in there. And whenever there was a problem that was a pain in the ass or difficult, and it didn't seem obvious to me, he was my boss, and I would call him up and say, hey, we got some problem, come handle it. And after a while, he got annoyed with it and said, you know what, man? you need to, what do you think I'm going to do? You know, think about what I'm going to do when I get here, and why don't you just do that your own damn self? And instead of, oh, well, I don't know if I should, and you know, it's taking those chances. Mm-hmm. But that made an impact. You know, it started approaching the way I look at life. You know, when I have a big job, I'm like, all right, what am I going to do? Call a plumber? Call an electrician?
What would a smart person do?
What's the smart person going to do when he comes? And you know most of the time what they're going to do. Mm-hmm. And you're just like scared to do it.
Yeah, turn it off and turn it back on. That's step number one.
Yeah, that's always the key. But, I mean, that's the thing. And, I mean, again, that's when I was young and naive. Then getting in the military, taking, so that was like one step, you know, one level. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the Boy Scouts taught me a lot of things. But, you know, and I'm sure that gave me confidence and character. I know that I had no problem being on my own and alone. You know, as a kid, I'd be off in the woods or different places, but causing trouble. Had a lot of friends, had a good time. But, and even that, I had some friends in high school that were very confident and, you know, just ready to take charge. And they kind of took me under their wing and early on. And that too, you know, helped shape me into who I am. But then I know when I went to school in the military, they teach you how to think and how to solve problems. You know, it's that, all right, what does it need to work? What 5 things do you need to make this happen? You know, if we're going to go, I don't know, storm the beach, what do we need? You know, we need soldiers. We need them in the right place. We need guns. We need intel. We need, you know, all these things. And, you know, what do we do to get it done? And it's always kind of laying out the plan and then saying, all right, well, we don't have this one thing, so we're going to fail. Mm-hmm. And it's coming up with all the solutions. And same thing, you know, troubleshooting something electronic. I need, you know, 5 volts here. I need a signal that does this. I need this. Break it down. Which one don't I have? You know, what one's the problem? And that's how you solve problems. But again, that gives you the confidence that I can do something. So many people are quick to just give up. Oh, you know, this is hard. I don't really know. Nobody's ever shown me that. And that's where people fall short.
I know one experience I had is when I was in the military. Uh-huh. And I worked for a guy named Nesbitt. He was a former drill instructor. Ooh. He was a real hard ass, but he was a good guy. And somebody had just shit all over me about something that I didn't do. It wasn't my fault. And I was bitching about it.
Right.
And he said, listen. He said, if somebody gives you criticism, the first thing you need to do is think about it. Is this criticism, you know, is this valuable to you? Is this something you did? Is there something you did wrong that you could do better in the future? If so, then fix it. If not, then just say, okay, and go on with your life. There's no reason to dwell on nonsense, except for to give it a moment's reflection and think about whether or not this is a character flaw you need to work on. It's so easy to overlook your own character flaws.
Yeah.
That when people insult you or bring up character flaws, you need to stop and actually think about it, whether or not it's true.
And then is it something I can change?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I don't think that people have a hard time seeing their character flaws.
Okay.
I think that most people, when they see their character flaws, want to be better people and correct them. The problem is when you have these flaws that you don't see. You don't know if you're an arrogant asshole until somebody tells you that.
A lot of people tell me. So.
Well, maybe you need to look into that.
That's something I should work on.
But I mean, what I'm saying is that it's important to recognize that you're not a perfect person. And you may not be able to see what's wrong, but you can keep your ear out for it. You know, you can keep paying attention to try and fix those things about yourself. And the more you fix, the better of a person you're going to become.
Nice. Well, that's what is it, you know, you can't learn anything if you already know it all.
Right.
And that's it. All right. So, all right. I think everybody kind of needs a moral code. I think you need to decide, and it doesn't have to be the same for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to have values that are important to you, and be consistent with it. I find I don't lie, and the reason is it's too much of a pain in the ass to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also brutally honest to people, and that
Yeah, but I mean, you understand why people lie.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get out of
for
something
the immediate.
immediately. Yeah, no, it was that other guy.
Yeah,
he was that. He did it, but
I'd rather, you know what it is? I think, and I can't even tell you what it is that got me caught or whatever early on, and I don't have the example, and it would be a better story if I did.
Mm-hmm.
But I know a long time ago that I just never want to be in the spot where I have to explain my way out of something.
Mm-hmm.
And where I'm like, well, you know what? I was a piece of shit, and here, when you get pushed to the hill where there's
Mm-hmm.
no way out of it.
Yeah, well, if
when the lies come to an end, and I never want to be that guy,
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. And I made a decision. I'm not going to do something that I'm going to have to lie about later.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to put myself where I have to explain, you know what, unless I'm willing to do it. And some things I am willing to take the risk for.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Sometimes I am willing to take the consequences for my actions. But there's a lot of things where I'm like, you know what? I don't want those consequences, so I'm not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people miss that. I mean, it sounds simple and too easy, but when you make a decision like that, it's easy to move forward, you know? You don't need to bring up your past and divulge it to everybody. Oh, I had this. I'm not saying that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying start doing the right thing and make the right choices and move forward as a better man,
Yeah. And honestly, if you find out you have herpes, you need to tell your last girlfriend.
You do?
Because it's going to slow the spread of things, man. It's just not right. Just because you're
wait,
embarrassed.
that could wait till after the podcast, though, right? Oh, that's trouble. But that's, be a man.
Mm-hmm.
I really think, though, you guys, raising kids and even for yourself, you guys still haven't figured out everything in life yet. Maybe you have. Probably, if you're old timers, you're old timers like me and Kevin. We already got it all worked out. But you young kids still finding your way. Maybe get off your ass and do something new. Because it's these things. Go learn scuba diving. Go do instead of staring at a screen. And I'm not saying I don't watch TV and come home when I'm tired and put on something for more than I should. But I also know when I shut it off for a week or two, I know that I'm all of a sudden able to get shit done. And I'm like, oh, I was able to pull out all those AR-15s and put them all together and really kind of master that. Oh, I really was able to research the shit out of a podcast and do a great job. Different things. It makes a difference whether I'm, slacking and just kind of coasting through life. Just don't be exhausted, Take your girl out, go do something. And I don't mean go spend money. Go spending money is fine too if you got it. But go do something,
Do something.
Go do a hike. Kevin's the big hiker, get out.
There are thousands of mountains out there that are just challenging you.
Just
looking at you, calling you a punk.
YouTube is filled with resources. And I'm not saying, honestly, if you're caught up in survival and prepping and all you focus on is that, well, what's the point? What are you surviving for? Do some things that'll enjoy life too. But experience new things. Go, because I'm telling you, these are the things that are going to give you the confidence to being a man and being successful.
The more experience you have in different areas, the more tools in your box you have.
And that's, that really is survival. That's how we become better men. That's how you thrive in life. Why even be alive if you're not moving forward?
Yeah, a few years ago I found this book called the Hagakure.
The Hagakure.
It was a book written by a Ronin. A Ronin is a samurai
Okay.
that doesn't have a master anymore.
Okay.
So, at a certain point in Japanese history, they had to ban seppuku, which is ritualistic suicide.
Sure.
And if you were a samurai and your master died, you killed yourself.
That only makes sense.
Well, they banned that. So they had all these old sword fighters roaming around. And one of them became a monk and wrote down like an outline on how to be a samurai and the way a samurai lives.
All right.
And one of the things that I remember from it is he said, when it comes down to a choice between, or life is not that important when it comes down to a choice between integrity and life.
Ooh.
But one of the other things he said was never frighten a child unnecessarily. And that's something I try and think about when I'm raising my own son.
All right.
Don't fearmonger him. You know, don't run into his room in the middle of the night screaming just to think because you think it's funny. I may have done that once or twice.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not good for the kid.
All right.
You know, don't get your kids wound up and riled up over nothing. But take serious with them things that are serious. You know, if you're going to teach a child to be a man, you have to teach them what it is to be a man, you know?
And that's, I think that's part of why, as good parents, we shelter our kids so much and we give them everything. And I don't want them to struggle through stuff. And I think they should have struggled a little more. It would have toughened them up. But how do you know? I know that now that I'm older. I know that now that my kids are 16, 18, 19. I didn't know it as a 20-year-old raising little kids,
Mm-hmm.
You don't know the right things. And you just want them to have the best. And you want to give them the right things in life. But it's the struggles and the challenges. And I'm not saying you don't give your kid everything. I'm just saying make them work for some things.
Mm-hmm.
And just working to solve problems. But I thought, I think the world around us was a lot less pampered when we were kids. And we all know that. We know, all this political correctness and don't say anything to hurt anybody's feelings.
Yeah. And do yourself a favor. Look up a jungle gym from the 1920s.
Yeah.
They're like death traps.
They are.
But look at the place that they have now. It's like plastic slides that you can't go more than a mile and a half an hour down.
I hate to say it. Once you've been punched in the face,
mm-hmm.
you're a lot less afraid of being punched in the face.
Mm-hmm. And a little bit less likely to run your mouth to somebody that you
That's for damn sure. But that's the thing. Those things, like the world treating us like crap, adults being crappy to us. I can remember being in Sunday school, and the Sunday school teacher took a Bible and threw it at me, and I flipped over backwards in a folding chair that closed up on me on the floor. And afterward, he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry about that. I was just mad at everybody. It wasn't just you." And I'm like, "What the?" Yeah. But the thing is, these are the things that kind of shape you into life. You understand how people's emotions can get away from you.
Right.
If you go through life believing that every adult is kind and nice and gonna be gentle, then when something catches you off guard,
mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a problem.
You're not doing your kid any favors by spoiling it.
No. I was just talking to somebody the other day, and they're telling me about how, I'm so worried about this kid that I know because his dad is always yelling in the house at the mom and screaming and it's just such not a good environment for a 4-year-old or whatever. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, this is what the kid knows, and this is his world. And if you go in and tell him this isn't normal and this is bad, then what? He's going to hate his dad and live in this horrible world where he thinks everything is wrong. Mm-hmm. Whereas, I put my headphones on and block it out when that happens, then, he's found a way to cope with it. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying, your kids should deal with a crappy life. And no, I'm saying that they learn to cope with things. And sometimes people don't know things are bad unless you tell them it's bad. I wonder, like, if sometimes bad things happen to our kids or kids that we know, and it's horrible and whatever, but if you don't tell them it's horrible, it's not going to be ingrained and scar them. I mean, obviously, hey, when that child molester came along, that was normal and that's okay. No, you want them to be prepared and whatever, but also making it such a big deal that it scars them forever because you ingrain it. They're traumatized by how much you reinforce it and whatever, whereas sometimes it may not. I mean, obviously, some things are horrible and are going to scar the kid no matter what you say. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying be careful how you react around your kids.
What's the first thing you do when your kid falls down and scrapes your knee?
And you're,
it's okay.
It's
okay.
Well, that's
you're
what
right.
it should be.
Yeah.
But that's not what happens anymore. You know, you have the parents, I mean, that's it. We grew up, I know my mom left some kind of knitting basket or something at the bottom of the stairs and left the door open because that's how she rolls. And somehow I fall down and the knitting needle goes through my ear and out the other side.
You were the first kid in kindergarten with Pierce.
That's it. I was cool.
That was boss.
And sure, my mom would be like, hey, there's the public bus out front of the house. You're 4 years old. Well, what you should do is get on there and just ride on it until you see your house again. That's good parenting right there.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
But I mean, that's it. These are the things that shape us, and I'm not trying to say, oh yeah, crappy life. That's what makes you a man. No, I'm saying don't overreact to stuff. Realize what's really important. You know what? Is your kid okay? Is he bleeding? Can you stop the bleeding? All right, the bleeding stopped. Now let's move on.
How often do you hear a kid say, well, that's not fair? All the time, because that's just natural. But when you hear an adult say things like that, that's when you know it's somebody that was, not raised properly.
Not raised properly. And that's what I want, is, a world where people are accountable for themselves. A world where people have the confidence to do brave new things. To invent new things, to go outside, walk outside. You want your kid to be tough and whatever. Well, that's what it takes, is confidence. And confidence comes through success, not from, your whatever trophy, your, what is it, participation trophies. That's not what builds
13th
confidence.
Place ribbon.
When they see everybody else gets the same thing. No, it's when you win. It's when you're number one. That's when, or it's, you know what, I was number 2, but I'm going to try harder because next time I'm going to get it. And you're not going to win at everything, but there's going to be some things that are yours and that you do dominate. And those are the victories that are going to help give you confidence.
Right. You don't have to be better than everybody. You just have to be better than yourself a year ago.
And that's it. No, that's moving in the right direction. You watch movies, was that Eddie the Eagle? Did you see this?
No. What's this about?
It had some Canadian guy, he was English, and he wanted to be a ski jumper. And he was like a reasonable skier. He wasn't horrible, but he kept trying to be on like the downhill team and just couldn't quite cut it because he wasn't Olympian.
Right.
He was a good skier, but he wasn't Olympian. And then he's like, we don't have a downhill jumper for the England team or whatever. So I'm gonna do that because I'll be able to be number one because there isn't anybody else. And just every obstacle, smack this guy. And the thing is, from when he's a little kid, he wants to be an Olympian. And it wasn't even, I want to be an Olympic, I guess it was, I want to be an Olympic skier, but not necessarily downhill or whatever. But he went through each thing, and every obstacle that smacked him down, the guy keeps going and keeps going, and then eventually gets there, and it's, and everybody's fighting him. And like, you don't belong here because he's not your typical, thriving guy. I mean, honestly, I was that in boot camp. I I think I've told this story about doing the most push-ups or whatever in the thing, and it's just the determination, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I end up being the, like, fitness guy, you know, because I wasn't the most fit by any stretch.
Mm-hmm.
But I was the most determined because I was like, screw that. I'm not going to let somebody beat me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I jumped on it and went with it. And that's what, you know, that's what builds character. It's those wins, those little victories that help make you a man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's pretty much what I got for this. I just, you know.
Yeah, this Eddie the Eagle movie, though, it sounds like something that you would describe as heartwarming. And that turns me off a little bit.
All right. No, there's a lot of beer drinking, and
okay. All right.
it's all right. But whatever.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, teach your kids to box. Don't enroll them in sports where they don't keep score.
All right. I like that.
And
that's the thing. Like, teaching them how to fight, one more thing, it's something that gives them confidence.
Right.
They come out and they say, you know what? I can kick somebody's ass. I'm good. You know? They're going to walk in the room a little bit head held higher, you know?
Right.
And these are the steps.
Right. And it's important to teach them when they can kick ass. It's important to teach them when and when not to.
And don't let the schools bully your kids, you know? You don't want them to be, you never want your kid to be disrespectful.
Right.
You want your kid, you know, we were talking about before when we were getting this podcast ready, we talked about, you know, chivalry and opening car doors for people. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that sets you apart. And you do get a better class of woman when you are a guy who treats somebody with respect. Mm-hmm. And just treat everybody with respect, not just a girl you're trying to date.
Right.
Treat your fellow human beings with respect, you know? But, opening car doors, you know, holding chairs or whatever it is you do, and, you know, all the things, being, you know, respectful, looking out for them. Mm-hmm. When you take care and look out for your significant other, it's going to put you light years ahead of the next guy.
Right. And your kids see that.
And that's what separates you and makes you a man. That said, got any comments, any hate mail for us for getting too sappy on you? preppingbadass@gmail.com.
Now, we haven't gotten any emails lately.
No emails,
so if
no
you want
iTunes
to,
reviews.
Send us something there at preppingbadass@gmail.com. You know, you might end up getting your idea for a show looked into.
Right.
So if you got any ideas or you got anything you're interested in hearing us yammer on about and babble about,
all right,
let us know.
Oh, sounds great. And maybe leave a review on the iTunes.
That always helps out. And what also helps out is subscribe to our podcasts.
Oh,
you know, get them downloaded.
Downloads.
Yep. Make sure they come in downloaded weekly. You get them right as they come out. And
tell your friends. Get everybody else listening to the Prepping Badass. The world will be a better place. Mm-hmm. Now, I heard today that the Federal Reserve decided to raise interest rates.
All right.
So these are the kind of things we're keeping an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
So next week we're going to try and talk about economic collapse.
All right.
Kind of prepare for the future.
Uh-huh. Now, one thing I had mentioned 2 weeks ago on the podcast was the Pizzagate.
Yes.
Do you remember I said that it was nonsense?
You did say
and
nonsense.
not to pay attention to this bullshit.
I completely disregarded
it. And then
it.
some asshole went down there and started shooting up a pizza parlor.
No.
I told you it was made up. What is wrong with you?
It wasn't one of our listeners.
How do you know that? I feel like it was. I saw a picture of him and he looked like somebody that listens to the show.
Yeah, you were like, wait, I've seen him in... No, it's bad. Don't go shoot people. It makes us look bad.
Yeah, we're all trying to keep our guns.
Keep the guns.
So stop misusing them.
All right.
There are no sex dungeons in the basement of the pizza parlor. I'm just saying. To reiterate, there are no sex dungeons in the basement.
But with that, stay safe, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today. Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.